Hi, welcome everybody. So happy to have you join us, and we're really excited to talk to you about the Connect cohort. This will be the second year that Connect will have been offered, and so we are almost through our very first year, and we're really excited to share with you some of the things that we've done and some of the goals that we continue to have for the program. So welcome. We're going to go through some of the big objectives and our goals. We're also going to talk about how we learn, what we learn, who we learn with, take you through a bit of a day in the life of Connect, talk about some of the trips that we go on, and then have some time at the end for some of your questions about cohorts in general and about Connect in specific. So what's really important to us that you know going forward is that Connect is about connections. That's why it's called Connect. It's about connecting to yourself. It's about connecting to each other. It's about connecting to place and the environment. And it's also about connecting to your abilities to change what you want to change and to be inspired and to be inspiring. And this quote that we have here really kind of sums up what's really important to us, is that you have a year full of experiences that allow you to understand who you are and what it is that you want to do and be in this world. So to do that, we have two two operating themes. So one of those themes is creative leadership, and the other of those themes is global perspectives. So these are the things that we keep coming back to that are really important. It's really important to us that we together as a learning community, the four teachers that you see here, all of the other teachers and Dr. Webster who help us with the program, and all of the community partners that you hear about, we want to be curious of ourselves, others, and the world around us. It's this idea of starting with who we are and expanding out from there is really important. We want to think about ourselves reflectively, so inward thinking, and critically, that idea of thinking outward, about ourselves as people, ourselves as learners, and ourselves as citizens. It's really important that we think about being aware of the multiple perspectives that exist, and that we use all of that to empower and develop our sense of being agents of change in your life and in your community. And all of this is still connected to the experiences and the community that is the regular grade 10 experience at St. George's, and now getting to share that with all of the other cohorts as well. So these two ideas of creative leadership and global perspectives, they're a little buzzwordy, so here's what they mean to us. On the creative leadership side, by the creative part, we mean being imaginative and engaging with your imagination and developing a toolkit of strategies that you can use as a leader who wants to do things differently. By leadership, we mean positive influence and someone who develops a community and doesn't just lead from the top, but leads side by side. So that idea of creating really positive, productive communities that are change-oriented and are excited to try new things and fail new things and experience different things as well. On the global perspective side of things, this is a broader conversation that we're having as a school. What is global stewardship? How do we demonstrate care for our environment? How do we demonstrate care for others? And these are some of the steps or actions that someone would do within or towards a global perspective. That idea of being inquisitive and flexible. That idea, though, of opposing prejudice and discrimination. Taking responsibility, seeking to learn, recognizing the unity of people, having profound environmental concern, and really above all, seeking to understand how things are connected to each other, both people and places in the world. So we want to give you a bit of a sense, because all of that's kind of up here, right? So we wanted to give you a bit of a sense of what that looks like practically and the different places that we do some of this learning. And Mr. Caitla is going to take you through some of these places.
All right. So research and experience has shown that the best learning happens, the best authentic learning happens when you're in a place, when you're doing something. And so this assignment, the students were building a greenhouse. And so they were given a budget, they were given background knowledge on how to grow food from my science course. We talked about why, and Mr. Hirsch is going to talk about the nutritional importance of food. And so here are the students like building and designing their own greenhouses. One of our field trips took them to Southlands Farm, and we talked with a local farmer, an old boy, an alumnus, about how to raise chickens, how to do sustainable development within a city context. We went to Academy of Tomorrow, which is, my colleagues will talk more about the program, but it's nice to get outside of the traditional school classroom. Field trips to cultural centers within our community. And ecological centers within our community. This is just across the street. This is the UBC Research Forest, where students got to meet with experts in the field of forestry and ecology. And of course, our flagship, pun intended, field trip at the end of the year. We're going to be sailing on this schooner. Half the students will be on the schooner for 10 days, and then the other half will be kayaking in the switch. So employed by this marine ecosystem organization, we've got cultural experts, we've got in First Nations groups along the west coast of Vancouver Island, we've got marine biology experts, we've got a lot of wealth of knowledge and integration. Students can get hands-on learning in some of the most beautiful landscapes of the province. And our goal for the next year is to visit Canada's new Museum for Human Rights, which is in Winnipeg. So that is a wonderful field trip opportunity as well. So what do we learn? One of the nice things about working with these colleagues is that we can take one topic and observe it with the different lenses of our expertise. So my background in science, in the subject of trees, I was able to talk about ecosystem change over time, human effect on ecosystems, biomes, the interconnectedness of life forms. A really, really neat opportunity to go through the loam of a forest on a field trip and look at how life and regrows. One of my favorite projects this term was with Mr. Hersey when I took my physics unit and his kinetics units, and we got the students to figure out the most effective way to do a wrist shot, or a squat, or rowing technique. And we used like motion capture to allow the students to explore their choice of athletic motion. So it's a great opportunity to do cross-curricular studies in a cohort like this.
Social studies?
So under the unit of trees in social studies, the focus of the Socials 10 curriculum really is on the geography of Canada and economic development and how we make decisions over the land that we have with reference to land conflicts and multiple stakeholders. So the way we approached the unit was to try to understand the importance of land through creating a sense of place. So one of the things we did was take the students to the Vancouver Art Gallery to see the Embracing Canada exhibition, where we looked at how landscape artists represented their understanding of place in Canada's geography through their work. We had multiple discussions on resource-based issues that are facing Canada today. And then we had a simulation activity where students looked at the Walburn Valley issue with regards to should we cut down our old growth forest. And students took on the roles of loggers and First Nations and representatives from the government to debate and discuss ideas and try to negotiate and work together to come to a consensus on what we should do about this issue.
From an English perspective in this trees unit, we read this book, The Golden Spruce, which is a nonfiction text that goes over an event where a young man decided to cut down a very important tree as an act of protest. So we read this text to try to understand some of the aesthetic and cultural values of trees, how we make ethical judgments, how those decisions change from different people and different groups of people, and also reading this for the incredibly rich descriptive language of the environment where this took place in Haida Gwaii. So a really wonderful opportunity to have all of this make sense, connecting back to all of the different subjects through so one topic through many lenses, as Mr. Caitler said. Mr. Hurst is going to tell you a little bit about what that means for PE.
Yeah. So getting out into Malcolm Knapp research course was an incredible experience, I think, for the boys to get into an active forest that is being logged, to hike up into a clear cut and to see the effects of this clear cut and really sort of discuss the moral and ethical reasons why it's being done, and then coming back to St. George's and going into Pacific Spirit Park and going for a run and stopping and looking and having a better understanding of where we live and sort of making that connection. If we go to the next slide, this is what PE looked like in Connect today. This is actually today. One of our students looks a bit different. That's Thoann Glover. She's one of the premier up-and-coming choreographers and modern dance teachers in Vancouver. So we had her come into the class today, and the boys learned about ballet, and there was a lot of fun happening, and basically that was to prepare them for the Royal Winnipeg Ballet is coming, and we're all going on Friday night. So they'll be performing Going Home Star, and some of the themes that we'll be looking at are truth and reconciliation. And what an amazing context for the boys to actually have a teacher come in, do a PE class in modern dance, and then to actually go see the ballet, and then Thoann will come back and work with us on Tuesday, and we'll really discuss those themes, and they'll have a much better perspective and context of what it takes to be a ballet dancer. I know when I broached this, it said, guys, we're going to do some modern dance. They kind of were like, oh gosh, like this is not their forte, but by the end of the class, you can tell their smiles kind of tell the story there. And going back into that nutrition project that we did at the beginning of the term, where they actually built greenhouses, there was physical labor happening. They had to, take the hammer and the nails and put that wood together. And they had some great information and background knowledge from Mr. Caitler in how do we make this food grow? What are the optimal arenas or venues for that food to grow? So, and then I took them to Stong's and I gave them a hypothetical budget for the week, and they had to hypothetically buy food and sustain themselves. And some of these boys were like, it was mind-blowing to see. I had people coming up to me in Stong's saying, what are you doing with these boys? And this is incredible. My son doesn't even know how to feed himself. So we have some really frank discussions about what they're putting into their bodies before they come to school, and where that food comes from, and tying it all into going down to Southlands Farm and seeing sustainable farming, and really having them question what they're putting in their body, I think is really what we do well here in Connect in terms of bringing it all back to health and wellness for the individual and for your sons. So.
To carry on from what Mr. Hersey was saying, the idea of learning with our head, our heart, and our hands is really important. So a little bit later on in English, we're going to be reading this novel called Rue, which is the story of a young girl and her family's journey immigrating to Quebec from Vietnam. So we're going to be taking in that creative nonfiction about a personal journey and a personal story. And English today It was a big day for Connect English today. We went to Burnaby, to the Poppy residences, and we met with our new senior friends there. And so here you can see Matthew and Sean and Felix discussing with their new friend Fern. I think she was telling them about her 20 grandchildren. And so they are going to be writing a piece of creative nonfiction that captures the journeys and the stories of somebody else. So that idea of receiving and offering is really important. So this is going to be a project for the next couple months. We're going to go visit them 2 or 3 more times. And at the end of it, we're going to present to the Poppy residences and the people there an anthology of their stories that we heard them tell and gift their stories back to them. So we get to see what it's like to be writers and be publishers of work. So again, like Mr. Herza said, just bringing it back all together.
One of the strengths of our program is that we recognize that we don't know everything, and we draw on experts in our community to help deliver the content and the skill building within our cohort program. And we've built up a number of partnerships over the year, and we have many in the works for next year, we're hoping. So what I wanted to do was talk about some of the places that we've been this year and some of the places we're hoping to go as we move forward with the program. The biggest and most exciting part of this is our relationship with an organization called Academy of Tomorrow. They're based in Gastown, and they have a learning space there that focuses on creative leadership and design thinking, and they have lots of experts in those respective industries that come in and work with the boys on problem solving and really focusing on how to approach real world problem solving in collaborative teams, and kind of an understanding and development of their self and their values. So we have some videos to show you on Academy of Tomorrow that we'll show you in a moment. We're going to be really lucky to welcome Seven Suzuki to our social studies class on April the 18th. She is going to be talking about what she is up to with her programs, but also making a connection between what we've been doing in social studies with regards to how we use the land and how we can navigate multiple perspectives when we're trying to make decisions on how we can use land. And today we've been connecting with a gentleman called Noble Kelly, who has his own NGO called Education Without Borders, and he's also a member of the UBC Global Education faculty, and he is going to be helping us look at the 2016 global goals, Sustainable Development Goals, and think about how we, as Canadians, as agents of change, can move forward with contributing to those goals as Canadians and as invested people in the issues that we're interested in. So we're excited about those. And then upcoming, we're hoping to develop a couple of new relationships next year. There's an organization called Storywise who have been working on a project called The Big Listen out of Vancouver Public Library. And they've been involved, they're a group of journalists who have been involved in listening to and recording people's stories for sharing and for kind of recognition of their value. And we're looking at the potential of working with them to learn about the stories of people in Vancouver and possibly even record students' own stories as we move forward. And then another relationship that we're pursuing is a working relationship with UBC and with some UBC students who are actively engaged in the community in service learning projects. We're hoping to set up our new Connect 10 program with students with some service learning opportunities, and then kind of work together with those UBC students as they are approaching this shared experience. So they may be doing service learning in a separate location, but we're looking at building this kind of mentoring relationship between our students and the UBC students as well. So that's something that's in the works. Oh, so we have some videos for you to show you about the Academy of Tomorrow, and we spend 12 days of the Connect 10 program year at this learning space.
I feel excited.
I feel motivated.
I'm inspired to tell my story. Academy of Tomorrow, I learned that knowledge is power, and I got both of those things today.
I think we hear the word leadership a lot these days, and to many of us it's kind of a distant concept. And the Academy of Tomorrow helps us better understand that concept, so our generation can actually lead through responsible action.
Life today is constantly changing, and what we basically need to do today is prepare and equip youth for a new world. And at the Academy of Tomorrow, we do exactly that. We equipped our students with practical skills that allow them to find and develop their own path, whether through their career, through university, and through life, really. We live leadership here every day. It's really in our DNA. Our students learn how to orchestrate creative teams, how to ideate and explore, how to vision and prototype, and how to pitch and present their solutions to our Fortune 500 partners. Now, they're not working on theoretical ideas, they're actually creating real solutions for real business challenges, together with our faculty, with our mentors, and with our corporate business partners. Ultimately, what we're doing here is helping youth to learn how to think and not what to think. And that's what sets us apart.
In regular high school, you don't really get to know how to apply the skills that you learn. But in the Academy of Tomorrow, you understand how to use your leadership skills and critical thinking and how to apply them in real life situations.
So what's going to be required for leaders of tomorrow is not the old idea of reading, writing, and arithmetic, but something that Harvard's Institute for Advanced Education has called the 4 C's. So that's critical thinking, communications, collaboration, and creativity. And so we're going to move from a quantitative notion of human capital as measured by the number of years of formal education to the skills actually acquired, nurtured, and grown across a lifetime.
So my participation in the Academy of Tomorrow really helped me become a much stronger leader, a better communicator, and a much better critical thinker. And I just feel like when you're treated as someone with power, it really motivates you to go out there and be able to create change with your own hands.
Now I feel empowered to make real changes, not just talk about them.
They motivate me to explore myself, to tell my story the way I want it to be.
I feel empowered. I feel inspired.
I feel powerful.
It's been really incredible. We've been learning a lot that I think most schools would never teach. And I think what's great about it is that it's very much geared towards the future, hence the tomorrow. It really is amazing to be in this environment, and the space itself is really well designed, and I think in the future a lot more schools are going to go in this direction.
It's been very exciting. I really like the atmosphere and everything. It's been a really good experience to get to know myself and get to know other people in my group, which is really nice. And I really like that.
It's been really great. I've loved it. All the environment here is completely interactive. You can change everything here to however you need it to be. The people here who work here to teach you are great, and it's not like an ordinary school class. You don't do things like school, but you do things that are different, but they're really exciting and fun.
I think it's a great experience. You learn more about yourself than you can dream of, and you become a better leader.
You know, like a regular school day, you sit at a desk, you stare at a screen, sometimes you don't hear people talking. It's very whitewash, and it's class to class, and while the subject's different, it's essentially the same thing over and over again continuously. The Academy of Tomorrow, you really get a sense, you know, there's a bit more variety to it, and different attempts to really find how to engage students.
But the Academy of Tomorrow, everyone's vocal, and everyone learns to speak out and learns what their inner leadership qualities are, and everyone just benefits from that, because you think you know someone as the quiet kid who doesn't really have much of a voice, but when you come to the Academy of Tomorrow, you learn that they are the vocal kid and they have a big voice, and that they really can express themselves as a different person.
Well, I think the Academy of Tomorrow really changes people. it makes you see yourself in a new light. It makes you discover yourself, and it shows you that you can do something in this world and you can change things.
I'd say like the whole thing actually, because it wasn't like one event that like provided one experience. It was the whole thing, just being put out of my comfort zone and just adapting.
Sometimes when we had some pretty big arguments within the group, like for example, team name, team logo, things like that, and it was pretty heated. Like all four of us were like, "Oh no, we should do this, but there were moments when when we finally decided to agree on something and all four of us were happy with it. I think that was a magic moment for me because it showed that like no matter how bad things would get, you can always resolve issues.
We did improv on the first day. I enjoyed that. I enjoy acting myself, and improv is a good way to push your boundaries.
I think the magic moment would be discovering my personal values. Because before I never really thought about this, and it was only through this course that I realized that my family was the most important thing to me.
I think it's just really important to just have new ways of learning, because the classroom can be so monotonous and just repetitive, and I think it's important to get a fresh take.
Definitely, because I think this is a really good opportunity for you to realize who you are and to do something great, and to realize that you do have the potential to change yourself and other people, if not the world.
So we're going to be continuing our relationship with the Academy of Tomorrow next year, and we'll be continuing to do a series of workshops with them, similar to what we've done. We've had such a fantastic experience that we're going to be doing it again next year.
So both in what we've been talking about for the past 20 minutes or so, and in the voice experience that you saw shared from the Academy of Tomorrow, there's this idea of finding out a lot about self. And I think to me that's been one of the most powerful things about this year is watching and being part of a community of learners that is finding out about themselves, about other people, and about the world around them. And that's really the model that we follow. And it's a concentric circle model, and it's also a spiraling model. So we go out and we keep coming back to the different stages as we go. In leadership and in global perspectives, it's really important that we understand who we are, what we bring to the table, what influences us. You heard Jeffrey talk about understanding that what was most important to him is his family. What a profound realization to make in your grade 10 year. What your goals are, what you can learn, and what you can contribute. So that's a really important part about self. Then we need to look outwards and say, who am I with? Who am I beside? Who do I need to be beside? Who do I need to talk to bring about my own knowledge and to make sure that we've got a diversity of voices represented? What's influencing us? And what is it that we can harness that we're seeing around us together? And then using all of that with the aim of contribution and agency. So recognizing opportunities to create change, affecting that positive change, and advocating for self and others. And what's magic to me about this is how we bounce back and forth between doing that as individuals, but then also as a group. So all of this is important as individuals, and all of this is important as a group. And one of the first things that we do to kind of form together as a group is in June we'll go and spend 2 nights in Whistler. And we will start off with some service at a local organization. We'll spend a couple days doing some activities together, cooking together, sharing meals together, doing a hike together to really form our first bonds together as a community, which is really important throughout this process. So a few logistical things to share with you what a day in Connect might look like.
Yeah, so you saw this in the initial presentation at the beginning of the evening, that the day 1 is a regular day for students where they would attend their math, language, and elective courses. Students still have the opportunity to take one elective if they take a cohort program. And these were the electives available last year. I'm not sure if they're the same ones this year, but we're assuming that they are. And math and languages continue to be in their streamed subjects. So if that was something that you were interested in, being part of Connect 10 does not affect that process. And then everything in green is within the cohort classes. So the 20 students together will experience their Science, PE, English, Connect, and Social Studies classes together. And we have a space there for Connect 10. And that can be considered to be your second elective because we're doing so many interesting things with people in the community and making all of these different connections between our subjects. One of the beauties of the design of this is that we have flexibility. So if we start a project that perhaps needs more focus on socials or on English, we have that room to maneuver things. Or if we suddenly get an opportunity to go and participate in a conference or in an event of some sort, we have this time built into our schedule where we as teachers can take you out of the classroom and we can shift things around within the timetable there. In terms of the application process for Connect, you saw the initial sign up online, and that's section 1 where you'll provide your basic information for us and for everybody. And then in terms of the Connect specific, we've set you a challenge. So you'll log on to the Connect application and there's 3 sections that we would like you to download and then re-upload. And the first is a challenge. We've given you a scenario that we would like you to give us your perspective on how would you solve this problem. And we've done that really, there's no right or wrong answer, but we've done it to see what kind of thinkers you are, to see if you're interested and excited about problem solving and approaching things with a critical lens, because this is the style of learning that we try to encourage in Connect 10. So if you enjoy the application process, then we're certain that you're going to enjoy the program. There's a section on getting to know you where we ask you some questions about what you're passionate about and what kind of learner you are. And then there's a section for parents where we would like you to give us your take on why this program would be good for your son and why your son would be a good match for our program. So if you could download those 3 things and upload them, and you can find that on the link just there. And then if you're looking for further information, we have our Canvas page where you can see what we've been up to in class. There's the website for the Academy of Tomorrow. They have some videos online about some of the other things that they do. And then we have our email addresses there that you can use if you want to ask us any more questions. We have prepared a frequently asked question handout that we will give you as you exit the room. And it covers questions about, can I take streamed math? How much is the cost of the program? Can I take English honours? Will I miss many classes? So those questions that you might have, we cover some of them on there.
Great. That brings us to the end of what we wanted to share with you. I know that's a lot of information that has come at you, especially now that's probably after 9 o'clock at night. So definitely appreciate that absorption levels are maybe not as high as usual. So please feel free, boys, to come and chat with us over the course of the week, or everybody via email. Are there questions that we can answer for you now about cohorts in general, about Connect? We'd love to hear what your thoughts are.